Chapter 50, The Completion of the Yellow Realm. This chapter is updated by novels.pl. Why should we go groveling in order to apologize to them? Suddenly, a spooky voice with a sneer came from outside, saying, "Father, grandfather, we can rely on the seventh prince. No matter how brilliant the ninth prince is, he will serve as a foil to the seventh prince. Don't worry." Afterwards, a young man in 20s entered. The skinny man's complexion was fairer than the woman who had glabrous and fine skin and seemed to be more feminine than masculine. His voice was strange, with a perverse yet sharp tone, similar to that of the eunuchs in the palace. He was the first genius of the Lins, Lin Chenyu. 3 years ago, he had reached the completion of the Yellow Realm. However, he was condemned to castration after offending the seventh prince. Later, he became a servant of the seventh prince. "Chenyu, haven't you been to Yuntai Suzerain following the seventh prince? Has he returned as well?" asked Lin Jinai. Lin Chenyu smiled and said in a sharp voice, "My Majesty found an ancient relic and got a great opportunity. He can't return temporarily, so he sent me here to solve some problems in Yunwu City, such as that of my cousin." Lin Jinai's expression became cold and he said, "The seventh prince sent you to kill the ninth prince?" Lin Chenyu shook his head and said, "My Majesty is a hero who doesn't need to take my cousin seriously. The ninth prince would never catch up with him, even if he spent his whole life to practice. However, the queen was worried that the ninth prince may fully develop and so my Majesty sent me here to kill him. He is your cousin." Lin Jinai said in irritation. "So what?" Lin Chenyu sneered, "He must die as my Majesty wants." "Papa, I have to mention you to be careful about your choice. After my Majesty completed his cultivation in the ancient relics, his cultivation must reach a higher level. It's a piece of cake if he destroys the Lins." Ha ha. Lin Jinai felt a little frightened about the seventh prince with his incredible talent. It was well known that the seventh prince ranked first in the yellow board at the age of 12. Nobody knew how high his cultivation was after so many years of practice given his immense practicing speed. "Well, my Majesty has promised to marry Ningxuan as his concubine under my entreaty. I will report it to the Queen in detail to ensure that the engagement is made as soon as possible," Lin Chenyu said assertively and relentlessly without any respect for the 4 seniors. After these words, he left immediately. "The seventh prince will be engaged with Ningxuan." "What's going on?" Lin Jinai asked. Lin Fengxian answered, "Father, it's the decision made by Chenyu and Ningxuan. Isn't it a good news for us if we can depend on the seventh prince's position and power? But why does it give me the feeling that the whole Lins will become the servants of the seventh prince?" Lin Jinai clenched his fist bitterly and indignantly. He felt helpless because the seventh prince was indeed powerful enough to destroy the Lins if they irritated him. The savage god's pool. The red shine around Zhang Yuochen disappeared after 7 days and the skin of his face returned to the normal complexion. He had completely taken in the pill spirit of Qilin pills. Zhang Yuochen had never felt so powerful before. At present, his body, even in the deeper area of the savage god's pool, was melted by the power of blood. Zhang Yuochen still remained in the deeper area of savage god's pool, with the graph of 36 meridians in his mind. The power of sacrifice integrated with the savage god's pool helped him comprehend the heart vessel and vessel of spirit. When developing the 36 meridians, the most difficult thing was to develop heart vessel and vessel of spirit. It was as difficultly as climbing up to the sky to develop 2 meridians. 3 days passed. Zhang Yuochen laughed loud in the savage god's pool and said, "I understand. The method to develop the gaseous heart vessel is the same as the power of blood in the savage god's pool. If I compare the savage god's pool to the blood inside the warrior's body, the power of blood will be the heart vessel and my body is like the chi pool. I got it. 8 days passed. Zhang Yuochen comprehended the truth of the vessel of spirit in the savage god's pool. Actually, the principle was the same between the vessel of spirit and sacrifice. Sacrifice meant the communication between human beings and gods. Vessel of spirit meant the connection between the body and soul. Vessel of spirit did not appear at any time and any place. It would only appear when you connected your soul. That meant, the vessel of spirit did not belong to meridians but to the power of sacrifice. What he sacrificed was not gods, but his own power. The power of sacrifice was contained in the power of blood. As long as he separated the power of sacrifice and kept it in the chi pool, when he made a breakthrough to reach the completion of the yellow realm, he would develop the vessel of spirit automatically. Having grasped this fundamental point, the rest would naturally follow it. Finally, Zhang Yuochen completely comprehended the graph of 36 meridians. It's time to make a breakthrough to the completion of the yellow realm. Zhang Yuochen intended to reach the completion of the yellow realm in the savage god's pool. Therefore, he took out one marrow washing liquid from the internal space of his time and space spine and started to develop the 28th meridian. He continued on as though he was unstoppable. The 29th meridian, the 30th meridian, the 35th meridian, the 36th meridian. When the 36th meridian was developed, a blast of sound came out of Zhang Yuochen's body. The 36 meridians were like 36 giant dragons flowing inside the body and formed 36 large circles of vital energy. A sacred shadow of God appeared behind Zhang Yuochen, 33 meters tall, and bore a golden blaze. At that moment, all the warriors in Yunwu Commandery felt as though they were under incredible pressure, as though an invisible huge mountain weighed down on their heads. The pressure continued for a short while and then dissipated. The average person took it for granted as a sense of suppression within their chest for a while people with strong martial arts had a feeling as though the sky was collapsing, feeling as though there must be something horrendous happening in the Yunwu Commandery. But Zhang Yuochen felt it normal except for the feeling of a tenfold increase of the chi pool and his success of reaching the completion of the yellow realm. Aha! I can't imagine developing 36 graphs of meridians. Great! But how much power of bulls can I reach now? Out of the savage god's pool, Zhang Yuochen decided to test his present power.